Hello there. Welcome back to Grandma Ray Don't Play, and I'm Rachel. So I would like to present to you this is the last video of my father's 90th birthday celebration, and we really was happy to see him smile through the whole process. So the next thing you're gonna hear at the end of the celebration is you're gonna have a young lady blowing the horn, and then you're gonna hear a couple of more testimonies. And one testimony that you're gonna hear is that will be the third person that's gonna come forth. No, I'm sorry, it's the last person that's going to speak. And his name is Bishop Hogan. And he is the Massachusetts statewide representative for the Church of God in Christ. So he's over all the churches of God in Christ in Massachusetts. And Bishop Hogan and my father have been friends and colleagues for years, and you'd be happy to hear what he has to say, okay? And also my sister Audrey did present my father with a trophy, which I'm sorry I don't have that on film. I thought it was on there, but I guess that was when I was changing the clip. But at any rate, I want to let you know she presented my father with a trophy, and that was just absolutely superb. He loved that, really loved it. And so I just want to say in my own words that Dad, this is straight from the heart. I want to thank you for being my father. I thank you for hanging around all these years and doing what fathers do. You listen all the time. You do what you can for everybody, your kids and everybody else's kids, grown and not grown. You try your best to always steer people towards Christ. And in your answers to anything is always biblical, always biblical. You manage to always get the word in there, even when you're not in the pulpit. And for those who don't know my father, he is not a person that talks a lot when he's out of the pulpit, but when he's in the pulpit, oh, he has lots to say. And there's no one that I know that can break that Bible down like he can. His gift, I've always told him, is in teaching the Bible. And he likes to preach, but his gift for me is teaching the Bible. He also is on cable TV in Boston, Massachusetts. He went to learn how to do his own filming and editing it on cable TV. He did this 10 years ago. So, okay, he's 90 now, right? So at 80, he went to learn how to film and do editing with cameras for TV, okay? And he's still on TV to this day in Boston. So you can see that he's a man that has really climbed mountains. And you know, I'm just so proud of him, and I hope he's proud of himself, because, you know, think about it, 90 years ago, right? He didn't have a lot of opportunities like we have, but he made the best of life. And if I don't take nothing else from him, I'm going to take the idea of keep on pushing. Even when the going gets rough, keep on pushing. After him and my mother divorced, he married another lady that had 7 kids of her own. And so he also helped raise them. So he had 6 and she had 7. You imagine that? Okay, and he did it all. And he has just been absolutely remarkable in everybody's life. And you know, if this doesn't do nothing else but lift his spirits and let him know he did do the right thing in life, then okay, that's enough. I feel like he feel the love and he appreciated it. Okay, so all right, without any further to do, Dad, your daughter Rachel loves you, okay? And thank you for showing me a great example of what a parent is, okay? All right, so let's get into the service, all right? 1 second.
Girls is my first cousins, and I feel bad I haven't been around. I just found out about the 2 deaths tonight in my family. It just goes to show how good God is, and I said, if you'll let me come on Sunday nights, I'll start to come. I have opportunity to pick this horn up. But his favorite song, and I play on the tenor, the big horn, but that I feel like going on.
Amen.
I've seen him tonight. I thought about it, but I'm going to try it.
Good all the time. He is good. Amen. I have heard so many great things tonight. I have heard history. I don't know Pastor Henry like you all do. But one thing that I can say that I do know, that he's a great man of God.
Amen.
First thing that I learned from him when I first came here, me and my wife, we went home and we started talking about this here that same night. We was talking about how when he was up here at the altar and when he was praying over people and whatnot. And we got home, we started entertaining that, thank you.
All right.
We started entertaining it.
All right.
I said, boy, it's nothing like thanking God. But one thing that came to me, I'm not going to hold you long because so much already has been said. One thing that really stuck with me tonight as I heard everybody speaking was when God was said, he that had begun a good work, he that had begun a good work will complete it until the end.
Yes.
A great work has been taken, has been begun, and still he is working that great work that is in you today. He's still doing it.
Amen.
You're talking about a great cloud of witness.
Yeah.
My wife and I just came from down south. I got an uncle, just like many of you all got him for an uncle. Just turned 100 years old.
All right now. All right.
God is a God who will keep you when you want to be kept.
Amen.
God is so good.
Yes, he is.
And I'm just glad that God gave me my wife,
All right.
but he gave her away.
Amen.
And I thank God for that.
Oh, yes. Amen.
I would say, for heart full of gratitude, I thank you.
Yes, sir.
But then, with my ecclesiastical hat, I have to say with Apostle Paul, I salute you all,
Yes, sir.
which is the highest compliment that one Christian can pay to another.
Yes.
You have made my life complete, and my night have swelled to the highest.
Yes, yes, yes.
And I thank you all for showing up
Yes.
so I can see you.
Yes, yes, yes.
Amen.
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 So
Amen.
that being all, according, I'll turn you back in the hands of the sponsor,
Amen.
and she will, of course, acknowledge the highest rank in the building.
Yes.
We got a couple more things
Yes.
and we're gonna get to
Good.
we're gonna turn them loose. Because one of them I asked especially to come in because he knows the pastor very well. At this time, we have guests all the way here from the Carolinas.
Right.
I emailed him and told him that I'm gonna read the living legend. And so the last time I read it 10 years ago, he told me he was upset because he wasn't here.
All right.
All right.
So tonight he drove here all the way from North Carolina
Come on now.
to let you know
Yes.
how much he loved you.
Yes.
And so at this time, let's give Arthur Crockett a hand.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
I come to honor my uncle, the family patriarch. I grew up in this church.
Yes.
I'm a stranger to Boston because in 1979 I went into the Air Force, and I have never lived in Boston since then. But I've made many trips up I-95, and my cousin, as she said, she said she would like for me to attend. I'm retired, and I just couldn't see anything between 95 and Boston that was going to keep me from coming.
All right. All right.
To include Corona.
Right now. All right.
Amen.
If this man's ears would burn every time I mention his name, and my 60 years come June, they'd be burnt off.
All right now.
Because he is a big inspiration to me. I love him with all my heart.
Amen.
And all she had to do was ask. That's all she had to do was ask. I'm not going to stay long, but I will say that he was special to my mother too, which was
Yes.
big sis.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
And 2 of my sisters are here, and they can attest to what I'm getting ready to say. Mary waking you up on Sunday morning so you could get those buses to get down here. And it's just like she said, the place looks so big when you're a child, and it's not as big as, you know. But I tell you what, you don't need no GPS to get here.
Amen.
You just come because it's where your heart sends you. And thank you for setting the mark, and keep pushing it up.
Amen.
Amen, amen. Let's give him another hand. All the way from the Carolinas, y'all can do better than that. Okay. At this time, we have Sister Adrian Williams that's gonna come.
Amen.
Amen. Let's say amen for her.
Good evening, everybody. It is truly a pleasure and a blessing to be here.
Yes.
There is no way on God's earth that I would have missed being here today.
Amen.
Uncle Henry, excuse me, because somebody else is crazy. Uncle Henry is a really special uncle. And I have something I got to read to you from my sister Beverly in Maryland, who couldn't be here, but she sent a text message and asked me to read it out loud to the congregation. Okay, so she says, "Happy 90th birthday, Uncle Henry. That is a pretty impressive number, no matter how you say it or express it. It's truly something to admire and honor, and it's so fitting that someone of your caliber and legacy should reach such an important milestone. I must confess, however, that in my mind, you are ageless. My first memory of you," everyone might remember this, "my first memory of you is outside of your home on Blue Hill Avenue, standing in front of your taxi cab." She said, "You wore a tweed jacket, and you were just as handsome as you are today." I truly remember that day, and almost all others with you. And here's why. In my 56 years of life, each and every encounter I've ever had with you began with your kind, caring eyes and a broad smile that radiated so much joy my way that I always knew I was loved and home. Despite the fact that you usually had so many others to greet and attend to for just the briefest of moments, you always took the time to seek and acknowledge only me, and for that I am truly thankful to you. I thank God for your long life and your footprint on this earth, your loving niece Beverly. And all I just wanted to say, I'm done with Beverly's message, all I want to say is that for me, my first memory of being in this church, and the one that it radiates, and I always remember it, is when you were preaching up there. By the time the service was over, you had jumped on every pew. Zigzag. Sometimes you'd hop on that and go over. And I'm like, wow. And you know, and it's one thing I can honestly say, this is truly a man of God. And you know, Uncle Henry always was the one that had a lot of kids. So we didn't get a chance to spend a lot of time with you because your kids were raising your kids. But one thing I always noticed when I was a kid growing up in here, I loved how your kids and your grandkids loved the Lord. And you know, that looked like a big hill that I couldn't see myself getting over that hill to learn all of that. And then what I learned is that I didn't know it like they knew it, and I couldn't quote the scriptures verbatim like they could, still can't, but I try. But one thing I do remember, and what I stick to, is that all of that preaching and teaching that was going on, it was seeds being planted in me.
All right.
And maybe I didn't get it then, but I sure got it in my 30s when I gave my life to Christ. And I've been a Christian, and I've given my life to Christ, and I'm in the Word. And from that day on to this day now, and my birthday is next week, I think, 29th. And so I've been in the Lord over 30 years.
All right.
And you know what? I'm doing the same thing, bringing up my daughter's child. She goes to church with me every Sunday since she's been 2 months old. And I see why that is important, and I see what you were passing down, and I see it wasn't just for your kids, it was for everybody's kids and all the adults as well. So I just really thank you for putting that word in me and in my spirit, and it taught me that no matter what I walk through in life, I know that I got God in me and God on my side. And you know, I know that God is going to take care of what other issues that I can't take care of, because I can't take care of none of them. Okay? But I just wanted to say that, and I wanted to say to Gloria and all the people in here, and I'm not just trying to drop names and things, but I remember you all back when before you had children, when you had children, and I remember seeing all of you all who was Uncle Henry's, I call it congregation, you all stuck with him. And I remember Uncle Henry's church maybe didn't always have 200 or 300 people, but the people that were in here and that he impacted, it's like having 5 million people in here. By the time you all go out into the world and spread that word. So I just want to say thank you. Thank you for having me. And I love you, Uncle Henry. And I love your children and your family. And I thank God for you.
Amen. Amen. Let's give her another hand.
Yes.
And I also want to add that, you know, he's the oldest of 16.
15.
Yeah.
50.
No, 16. And it's now down to 5. Okay? And he is still here. And a couple of them told me that, hey, this dude may be here to put me away. I said, they said, because he's putting them away and he's still preaching and going on. And I want to say to him too, that it's funny now that he's in his 90s, he have a van. And he's always been a Cadillac man. So I said to him, wait a minute. How do you go from being a Cadillac man to a van? He says, well, you see, it's higher and it's easier to get out. I said, oh, okay, I got it. So I didn't want to leave that part out. And he has a lot of grandkids and great-grandkids. And also, all his church kids call him granddaddy. So he has a lot of grandchildren.
Amen.
All right? He's not just the bishop. He's the bishop of the state of Massachusetts. All right? And let's give him a hand. Y'all can do that one in now. You ain't
baptized. I am so elated to be here.
Yes.
You really don't know how my heart has been blessed by being here today, because you have blessed him.
Yes.
And when you have a good friend that somebody does something special for, if you love your friend, then you love whatever they do for him. I appreciate every one of you that came to make this day very special for him.
Amen.
Give yourself a hand. I was with his son before he passed. I was at the hospital, and I couldn't reach anybody, but they had a blackboard up there, and I put on there, Bishop Hogan, did you see that? I was here today, and I want everybody to know, whoever come in that room, that I was there with my friend. And he didn't talk too much back, but I talked to him. And I reminded him of the days that we had time together and all. And I thank God. But I just thank God for you bringing your family to Christ the way you did, and the example. And he oftentimes, I think about him, I think about my dad. My dad was a good man.
Amen.
He was a good man. And when you look at people, and they were And you were loyal to the church. My father was loyal. And I thank God for that, because when you think about it, there are a lot of men that didn't stick, and really be men of God.
Amen.
My dad did.
Yes.
And I thank God for you, because you're an example to the community, an example to the church, an example to your family. Whatever you've done, you've been an example.
Amen.
And God has rewarded you with longevity.
Oh, yes.
That's why he's still living.
Amen.
God has rewarded him with longevity because of his life. Let me tell you, I learned some things today.
Yes,
I sat here and I listened. I learned some of the things, and I didn't know all he did, but I know he had a good friend, Dr. Little.
Yes.
That was your good friend.
Yes.
And I want to tell you, a few years ago, Dr. Littles came to Boston.
Yes.
And he was, a little senile at the time.
Yes.
And the person that brought him said he wanted to come home to Boston. And he didn't remember everybody. But he said, wherever he could find me, he said, find Hogan, find him. And they found me, and we went out downtown and had a chance to sit and talk. And he said, I don't remember very much anymore. He said, I don't preach anymore. But that was your friend.
Yes.
And he loved you.
Yes.
And he said, I don't preach much. My wife does most of the preaching. He said, but I wanted to come to Boston to see you. I came tonight so you could see me.
Yes.
I'm your friend.
Amen.
I'm your friend.
Hallelujah.
And before he left town, he was happy.
All right.
Because he said, I got a chance to see you and talk to you. And he said, I just wanted to do that.
Yes.
And I thank God for these men. These men have held up the hands of younger men. They've held our hands up.
Amen.
We would not be who we are today except these men have held our arms up and whispered things in our ears and encouraged me. When I came here, I was 27 years old.
Amen.
Getting ready to go to graduate school.
Wow.
1971.
Wow.
I came to Boston. And to run into men of God that could talk to you and say things to you and encourage you. Some men say, well, you going to school, they talk negative. He didn't do that.
Amen.
He talked good things into my spirit and let me know it's good to study. And then your other friend, you mentioned him, Benny Goodwin?
Yes.
Benny Goodwin?
Yes.
He was here for a while. And when I came, I met him.
Yes.
And we became good friends. So you see what happens when you have good men that sow into young men and women's lives.
Amen.
And I know that he's proud of me.
Yes.
I stayed around and I didn't get myself in trouble.
Yes.
Right.
And I appreciate that because they helped me to keep my life straight.
Amen.
I thank God for you. And like I said, I would not have missed this for anything in the world.
Amen.
I wanted to be here, and I'm so glad.
Thank
She
you.
stopped over at the church, sitting way in the back, and they said, Bishop, the lady want to talk to you. He said, should she come up? I said, no. I got out and went to her.
Amen.
She said, come on this Sunday, on
Amen.
this Saturday. I'm glad I came.
Amen.
And I tell you, I really love each one of you, and I love you because you love him.
Amen.
I don't know all of you. I know some of you. but because you have been kind to my friend, I thank you and I love you. Anything that I can do for you, I'm the Bishop of Massachusetts, and anything I can do, anything you need, I can do. I'll be glad to do that. And to whatever God has given you to ask me to do, I'm going to try to do it with all of my might. I asked God to make me a good leader. I told him 9 years ago, I said, Lord, I got up and I said, men, I said, if you want to lead, I said, I'll try to be. I said, but if you want somebody else, choose somebody else. They chose me.
All right.
And I thank God for that.
Amen.
And I tell you, they have been good to me. The preachers in the city have been good to me. They have held up my arms and they have prayed for me. So I'm here because of your pastor, your father,
Amen.
your leader,
Amen.
whom I love. God bless you, man. Thank you.
Okay, thanks guys. Thanks for watching all the episodes of my father and his 90th birthday. I thank you for welcoming him into your home and into your family. And hit the like button if you like it. Share the video with everyone. Subscribe, okay? And if you can, hug your family. Let them know you love them, okay? All right, bye-bye.